So unfortunately the footage of me actually pulling everything out of the box disappeared. But here's everything laid out on the table, fully unpacked. Nothing here is still wrapped inside the box. This is exactly what you get when you open up the BrewZilla Gen 4.1. And we're going to go through it piece by piece. First thing I'm doing is cutting away the paper wrapping around the top and bottom malt pipe screens. Next, I'm unwrapping the false bottom and setting the ball valve spigot aside on the table. Everything here feels solid and well made right out of the box. Now I'm opening up the glass lid, removing it from its wrapping, and then taking off the extensive packaging around the malt pipe itself. There's quite a bit of protective material here, which is a good thing. Nothing arrived damaged. Here I'm opening up the styrofoam and sliding off the bag surrounding the main brewing unit. I'm removing the cardboard insert from inside and showing the concave bottom of the kettle from the inside. This is part of the Gen 4 redesign and helps with heating efficiency and drainage. Now I'm opening the accessory box, and inside you'll find the RAPT digital controller, the lid clamps, and the handles for the glass lid. Here's everything laid out so you can see exactly what's included. The main brewing unit, the RAPT digital controller, the recirculation arm, the immersion chiller, the ball valve, the glass lid and lid clamps, the adhesive sight glass volume sticker, the false bottom, and the top and bottom malt pipe screens. Now I'm installing the RAPT controller. This uses a 5-pin connector, so it's important to line it up correctly before pushing it in. Once it's seated, you simply screw it on and snug it up. Very straightforward. With the unit on its side, I'm showing the bottom. One of the big upgrades with the Gen 4.1 is that you now have direct access to the pump without removing a cover. Here I'm installing the ball valve spigot into the opening and tightening it down securely. Then I'm attaching the hose to the back of the spigot, pushing it on fully, sliding the clamp forward, and tightening it so it's nice and secure. Now we're installing the glass lid clamps. You line them up over the bracket, slide in the small bolt, and then tighten everything down using a Phillips screwdriver and a small socket. I'm showing one clamp here. The rest are done off camera. Next up are the glass lid handles. These are very easy to install. One hole, one screw, one nut. Just tighten them down with a screwdriver and you're done. Now we're moving on to the malt pipe. I'm showing it empty first, then dropping in the bottom screen, which fits perfectly with no issues. Next, I'm placing the top screen on top. A lot of brewers don't use the top screen, but I'm going to try it out. It sits on top of the grain bed after mash in and allows the recirculation arm to distribute wort evenly across the grain. It also adds another layer of filtration and helps protect the pump, and it's especially useful during sparging. Now I'm sliding the false bottom into the main unit. Next, I'm inserting the malt pipe. A little tricky with one hand, but once it's in, I'm showing how it locks into 2 different positions. You can lift it all the way up so the bottom sits near the top to let the wort drain fully, or you can lock it into a midway position for sparging. Now I'm attaching the recirculation arm, which connects to the pump outlet and returns wort to the top of the grain bed during mashing. I added a little lubricant here, but it's still a snug fit, which is good. Next up is the Immersion chiller. I'm removing the protective packaging from the connection points, then attaching my existing water in and drain out lines. Based on how my water inline connects under my kitchen sink, I've added an inline shutoff valve so I don't have to keep crawling underneath to turn the water on and off. I also purchased a neoprene jacket separately. Didn't come with the unit, but for the price, it's absolutely worth it. It helps maintain mash temperature and improves efficiency. I'm securing it here and showing how it still allows access to the sight glass. Now I'm unboxing the Bluetooth low energy temperature probe, which I also purchased separately. This is really important because the BrewZilla's internal temperature probe sits near the heating element, and that can read hotter than the rest of the wort. This probe allows you to measure temperature closer to the center of the wort, and yes, the readings are different. It uses 2 AAA batteries, which I'm installing here, and it powers on without any issues. Next is the CIP sprayer, another add-on. This attaches to the recirculation arm and is used for cleaning after brew day. I'm assembling it here, screwing it on the spray head and attaching the hose that connects to the recirculation arm. Here's a full look from top to bottom showing the complete BrewZilla setup. Now we're moving into the very first cleaning, and this is an important step that you don't want to skip. Anything that's going to come into contact with wort needs to be washed thoroughly before you ever brew on this system. For this initial clean, I'm not using brewery wash or any strong cleaners. I'm just using warm water and regular dish soap. The goal here isn't deep sanitizing yet. It's simply to remove any manufacturing oils, dust, or residue left over from production and packaging. New equipment can look perfectly clean, but there can still be oils or fine particles on the surfaces, and you definitely don't want any of that ending up in your beer. So I'm taking my time here and washing everything by hand. The kettle, the malt pipe, the screens, the recirculation arm, the fittings, basically anything that will touch the wort during the brewing process. Once this step is done, I know the system is truly clean and ready for a proper sanitize on brew day. Once everything is clean, I fill the BrewZilla with water and power it on. Before doing anything else, I connect it to the Wi-Fi and the RAPT portal. Using my phone, I connect to the KegLand RAPT network, enter the password shown on the screen, and then input the validation code and MAC address into the portal. Once that's done, the unit is online. Here's a step-by-step guide on how to register your BrewZilla. Next, I pair the Bluetooth thermometer. I go into Settings, enable Bluetooth, turn on the probe, select it when it appears, and bond it as the main temperature sensor. Now I'm filling the unit with exactly 5 gallons of water. I heat it to 150 degrees, drop in the malt pipe, put the lid on, and simulate a mash. Then I raise the temperature to 215 degrees Fahrenheit and show a strong, rolling boil. After that, I drop in the Immersion chiller and cool the water down to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. It cools incredibly fast, about 25 minutes. Next, I'm applying the adhesive sight glass volume sticker. First, clean the glass with isopropyl alcohol or Windex. Then make sure you have exactly 5 gallons in the kettle. Line up the 5 gallon mark with the water level, stick it in the center first, and then smooth it out evenly. Now I'm moving on to testing the CIP sprayer, and this is something I was actually really excited to try. I've got about 5 gallons of water in the BrewZilla, and I've mixed in Star San according to the recommended dilution rate. Once that's in, I start the pump and begin recirculating the sanitizer through the system. While that's running, I'm taking all of the fermentation gear that I'll need for my brew day. Things like transfer lines, fittings, airlocks, and parts for the FermZilla. And I'm sanitizing them using the same Star San solution. This is a really efficient way to prep everything at once instead of mixing multiple sanitizer batches. The CIP sprayer attaches directly to the recirculation arm, so as soon as the pump kicks on, you can see the spray head spinning and sending sanitizer in every direction. It's hitting the sides, the bottom, and the top of the vessel evenly, which is exactly what you want when you're cleaning or sanitizing brewing and fermentation equipment. Now for the real test. I wanted to see how well this would work inside my FermZilla. I disconnected the CIP sprayer from the BrewZilla, attached it to the recirculation arm, and placed it inside the FermZilla through the top opening. As soon as I turn the pump back on, it's immediately obvious how effective this thing is. The spray pattern reaches every surface, the sides, the cone, the lid area, and you can clearly see the sanitizer coating the entire interior. The spray pattern reaches every surface, the sides, the lid area, and you can clearly see the sanitizer coating the entire interior. For something this small and relatively inexpensive, the coverage is honestly impressive. This completely eliminates the need to manually scrub the inside of the FermZilla, and it's going to save a ton of time on cleaning and sanitation going forward. Between the BrewZilla and the CIP sprayer, I can clean and sanitize both my brew system and my fermenters using one setup, which is a huge win. Overall,